A warm welcome back to your program, People's Imbizo, brought to you by ANN7. If you have just joined us, I'm your host, Audrey Chimwanda. We are in Soshanguve. This place is called Dream Team Foundation. It takes care of ex-offenders. It empowers them to become better people in society as they try to reintegrate back to their families and back to their communities. And also, if you have just joined us, I'll just recap on our panel. We have from the Department of Correctional Services, we have Mr. Gerson Navari, also Director of Community Outreach Program. We have also Pastor Brian Maloka. He is from Age of Hope Ministries. We also have a councillor of Ward 37 here in Soshanguve. That's a councillor Spiwe Montla, and an ex-offender Bongani Shabangu, who's managed to turn his life around, who's been sharing his story with us. Also, we have the audience that are interacting with us here and there. I want to come back to you, Mr. Navari. Just before the break, you were talking to us again about the issue of spirituality. I think this is the issue that we have seen that really works when it comes to human beings, because really, as human beings, we're moved by emotions, feelings, and the spirit within, and that's what needs to be looked into.
Part of the challenge that, and I think many of us have been speaking about it here, why do we have prisons than churches? The fundamentals are that for you to take a drug addict to a drug rehab, a drug addict must have accepted that I'm an addict. If you just pick up someone and drop them to a drug addict center without them accepting that they're indeed drug addicts, you will never rehabilitate them. So the fact of the matter is that those who are in our centers, they might have been worse in their lifetime, but the fact that they found themselves spiritually, it makes them rethink about the act they committed outside.
Right.
So in our thinking is that's why we put it as part of our performance agreement, a performance indicator, that those who are in our centers and the partnership that we have with churches outside and those who have been in our centers is to ensure that people who are inside our centers found themselves spiritually. That's why we allow them to actually run programs in our centers.
Right. I want Councillor Montla to come into this. You wanted to react to certain...
I wanted to say something special on the issue of how do the community welcome these people. You know, the main issue is that I think us as leaders, we need to educate our people. What we are doing when we address mass meeting, we've got program of addressing mass meeting areas. We are talking about these things and telling the people the truth in terms of the program the department have. And from there, our community will understand. Because, and I think one of the department, they're spending their energy in terms of looking on the victims. It's also the area of the family. How the family welcome the person will come back. Because at the end of the day, this person must go back to his mother who know that he committed 1, 2, 3. How do we deal with that? Now I'm saying the big thing is that how do we talk to our community and how do we get a response from our community? But I'm happy what that is saying in terms of that dialogue within the community. Because if you're going to improve that dialogue, let me tell you, our work is going to be easy. Even as persons coming back from as my family coming home, I know what's going to happen and I can take them to their program. Lastly, I want to also indicate one thing that I think there was also a question there. I think one of the important things is that when we talk to the community, let's make sure that they understand the language that we are speaking. One, because if you are taking a person in terms of the big ways that you are going to talk, one thing, you take a person to church, you talk about God. But at the end of the day, that person will need an education. What kind of education, formal or informal? I normally tell people in an address meeting, I say, God will speak to a person that is educated. And I'm willing to be engaged. Because once a person is educated, he will end up reading Bible, he can end up driving a flight and everything. That person is starting to understand himself. What about a person who have never been in school? How are you going to reach that stage? I'm saying it's a responsibility of the community that when this person come, how do we deal? And leadership within the community, we've got a lot of response to do that. Lastly, the issue of churches. It depends on the kind of church we have. There's a church that will say, we don't want this person. There's a church that will say, in terms of their culture and all those things, their religion doesn't accept these people. I'm saying we must also look what kind of church we're talking. Like we're talking about the Dream Team, they've got a church. The church is welcoming everybody. Especially we're talking about the issue of Nyaupe. The church is also doing the program in terms of that. Now it depends what kind of church. It's not only building churches, and on these churches, you know what the church are doing. Now I'm saying the responsibility of leadership, we've got a lot of responsibility to do, especially to educate our people.
Right, thank you, Councillor Bongani. I want to come to you. Did you take up any academic classes when you're in prison? Did you think that was something that could help you, or it's not something that you're interested in?
Well, after I found myself, Audrey, inside, I realized that I need education. And as you can hear, my English surpasses even the audience. You know, I speak better English than others. Yeah, so what happened is I did some courses inside. And then out of the courses, and then I realized that these were the building blocks.
I just want to come to Pastor Maloka, just going back to the spirituality part. The difference within Christianity and their beliefs and their morals, to say, you know, there are people who are accepting of ex-offenders and that there are others who practice a totally different kind of Christianity. How do we find ourselves in this position?
As a church, and I'm glad that this issue of spirituality is roaming around.
It has taken over. I think that there's the Holy Spirit that's moving around this set today.
We are a church that is community-based. We are a church that believes that, God himself says, come to me as laden as you are. So who are we to judge? We are not in that level of judging people. Now, as Age of Hope Ministries, I'm glad the director spoke of so many things like VOP program. We as a church and the Age of Hope Ministries already were involved in that program. I think even on Sunday, there are people that will be visiting our church. We've got a food program here when on every Sunday we feed the community. So we are inviting everybody in this ministry because we believe it is by the grace that we have received what we have received, and we believe in work. We are not a lazy church. As you can see around, we partner with people who believe in work because we believe that work uprights the purpose of a person. I mean, if you don't work, you cannot live.
The lazy mind is the home of the devil. But have you ever had, Pastor, any ex-offenders that come to your ministry and you try to help them rehabilitate themselves, have self-introspection, but they just go back to the community and do the same thing? What is the rate, just looking at the people that you've worked with?
I can tell you that we pride ourselves with working with ex-offenders. We go around in prisons, we visit. But I tell you, I've got Babs Kakan Lap.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We know him very well. He's a friend of the show.
Yes. So we've got plenty of them that came and they can testify to the open-hearted kind of approach that we have as a ministry. Because we believe in 3 Ds. You know, we always say that. My pastor always say that discover yourself, develop yourself, and demonstrate yourself. And we believe that people have got a potential, God-given potential, and which is a gift, and that needs to be enhanced. So we as a church, we are saying, partner with us. Why? Because we need something that is in you, and we also believe we can give something that is in us. Right. So as a church, we just welcome everybody.
You have hope and belief.
Yes.
Very beautiful. Just a reminder to our viewers at home who have just joined us. This is ANN7. You're watching People's Imbizo. We're coming to you from Soshanguve. We're coming to you from the Dream Team Foundation. Speaking of which, I'd love to invite Skakane Bongani to join in the conversation. We are here within the location of a place that you're doing wonderful things. Perhaps you could talk to us about some of the work that you're doing here, what progress you've made, and what message you have for the ex-convicts perhaps that are out there that are watching, and for communities who have had ex-offenders come back in their community and they're just still apprehensive. They don't know what to do with them. What needs to happen?
Audrey, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity for me to come and speak on behalf of the Dream Team Foundations. Firstly, I just want to address something. You see, as an ex-convict, I've realized that there is a difference between being convinced and being convicted. So the time I was in prison, I realized that the programs inside the prisons, they can only just convince a person, but they cannot change the person internally, you know. But I've realized that when I came across Christ in my life, inside the prison, Christ brought a conviction. Now, conviction means it's a total turnaround, it's a total change, it's a total transformation. All right, coming on outside life, as a young person, I came back, joined Dream Team Foundation. Basically what we do here, we in-house young people that they are from prison, of course, that they used to be in conflict with the law. What we do here, we are training them. Number one, we realize that we cannot have young people in our midst if they are not spiritually fit, because you need to be spiritually fit in order to live around a society that they can try to stigmatize you. like if people, they say, you bandit, you are from prison. But if you've got the spiritual, guards and the spiritual laws that they govern your totalness, then you are able to stand against such things. Number two, when we have empowered them spiritually, then we ensure that now they are ready and fit for them to take them to do something like the garden. We also take some of them to the bakery. They do bakery. And the very same bakery is a bakery that also serve people of the community. We've got the grannies that they are not working around the surroundings. Those are the bread that they are being done by the ex-convict. They themselves, they're taking those bread into those homes. We don't just give them bread. How wonderful it is, Sis Audrey. We will also give them prayers. Say, Gogo, this is the bread that was baked, but that the boys that they're from prison. Even one thing that I want to say, thank you for the society and the community we live around. They've never, not even a single day, they stigmatize people that are from this foundation. So we are looking forward, Sis Audrey, to be honest with you. We also have a halfway house where we've got something like 16 guys there. They are from prison. Some of them, they don't know who their fathers are. Some of them, they don't have homes. They don't have anywhere to go. They will constantly call Mama Julia to say, Mama, on a certain date, I'll be going out. I don't have anybody to sign for me. So it is Mama Julia's responsibility to ensure that he is going to take a risk of signing for somebody that they don't even know who they are. But simply because of we've got the heart for the people who are inside the prison, since well, we know how hard it is to be in prison. They will come back, and when they come back, I'm not saying the correctional, they don't do anything for us, but I'm trying to say we don't have the support. Number one, to give them clothes, to give them food. They have a shelter to stay. They have programs that they do, and they are tired to eat this cabbage and pap every day. They need meat as well, and we can't afford the meat. We are simply saying, please, by all humbleness, if there are people out there who are carrying best interest to come on board and ensure that they want to assist us as a society, that we want to make change all over this place, please do come on board, because change is a societal responsibility and we need each other to make a change.
But very well spoken there. Thank you for that contribution. We certainly appreciate it. Very profound indeed. I just want to ask a direct question to our audience members, the members of this community. I know you would say it's one thing for ex-offenders when they come back to our community to demand things, to say, we want clothes, we want this and that. As the community, what do you want to see from ex-offenders when they come back home?
Yeah, as a community, I've realized most of the thing from the community, there's too much rejection in our community. So when you reject a person, it's difficult sometimes. You must accommodate him. As a community, let us love all these people. I can guarantee you, since I have come and joined this team, at least there's not a day that I say to somebody, let us go to Dream Team, and Mama Julia said, no, I don't want this. Why she said this?
That's where Mama Julia is. We need to talk to Mama Julia. We'll come to Mama Julia in a bit. She's obviously very influential in this program. Yes.
She accommodates everybody. So if a person doesn't want to change, you can't force a person to change. But as a parent, give him that love. Forget about the past and start building him for a new life so that he can continue to live another life. That's the only thing that can bring us back so that we can change the community. If we don't embrace them and show them love, they will also still go back to crime. And at the end of the time, we are going to complain and say, crime is up, drugs and this and this and this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that contribution. I certainly appreciate it. Where does the responsibility lie more, with the offender, the ex-offender, or the community to make this relationship work? I suppose that's, yes, I promise I'll come back to you.
Yeah. This is a wonderful session, I must just say. But in answer to that question, Audrey, the people out there should give the ex-cons, which you call the prison graduates, they must give them a second chance, because God is a God of a second chance. That is what you tell the people. If you look at a watch, there are seconds, which means every second God is giving you a second chance. And when Jesus said, I didn't come for the righteous, but I came for those who are wrong, he was talking to all the wrong guys anyway. He didn't say you just like them, but he knew for a fact that you are the last ones to say that. But because he was a mild person, Paul, he says, I didn't come for the righteous people, but those who are not righteous. Therefore, we are saying as a church, we will be guilty when the people are released from prison and we don't have a relationship with them, we don't have a fellowship with them, we don't have a friendship with them except Titanic ship. We have got these people right in the dark walls. We were with them, so when they come out, it's a continuation as a church. Not to say you're the last one to pray for me because you never came to see me. When the Bible says to all the churches, when I was hungry, you never fed me. When I was naked, you never clothed me. When I was in prison, you never came to see me. We normally call it prison anyway. It's a correctional service because those correctional centers, I like my Ndebele language in correctional. Ubulungiswa besimilo. It means the attitude is corrected, the conduct is corrected, the behavior is corrected. He's a new person. It's a new him. He has discovered himself. You still want to live in his past. He's no more staying in the past. Ututile, he's no more there. So therefore, give them a second chance.
I think somewhere, somehow, the government doesn't see the importance of an ex-offender or maybe an inmate. You know that inside the prison, we've got the prosecutor, we've got the lawyers, we've got those people who are doing upholstery. There are some who are doing the engineering. There are some who are doing the ITC. There are so many people that are very skillful. So now, when I was sit down one day, I'm asking myself, why should government doesn't open a resource center when the inmates came out, so that who does the upholstery can go to that resource center and then do the sofas, you name it, and everything, and so that they can sell it to various shops. Some other that are doing the IT, so that they can help also the government about the IT. There are some who are the magistrate. We've got some other magistrates that are resigning, so that they can put some other guys there to be the magistrate. Right. We've got the potential inside the prison. But now the question is, why they can't build a resource center so that the South Africa as a whole can never be in a crisis that we are in? Because the crisis that we are in the country of a crime, a high crime. But if you allow them to go and work, let me tell you, we will never see the crime high rate anymore here. Right. Because now we allow them, we put them into a resource center so that they can work. By the end of the day, you will see. You will see things that were going to happen. You know,
thank you, my brother, for that contribution. You know, I've always believed that the government is by the people, for the people. The people are more important than the government. You know, we can't leave it to the government. It's up to us to make sure that the government changes, because they're here for us. If we feel they need to change certain policies, then we have to mobilize and make sure that that happens. Mr. Nava, you wanted to respond to the issue of people that are skilled in prisons, but they have no certificate to prove it. What's the point if you go outside the world?
Yeah, I want to start here, Audrey, that we must always remember that all of us were potential offenders. So there's no point for the community to reject others who have offended and rehabilitated. But secondly, we must know amongst ourselves that all of us were potential rehabilitators as well. So that is the work that we must carry through as part of our contribution to a humanitarian society in South Africa. But the point you are raising, which is very critical, is that, look, we have made an undertaking on legislative processes that we want to introduce what we call a Second Chance Act. That's one. Two is that we have also spoke about the aspect that relates to what we called Criminal Procedures Act, which details the manner in which we sentence people and how criminal record expungement is done. We have actually identified it as a problem because it hinders our work of rehabilitation. So many of those who come out of our centers are unable to be absorbed by the economy because they've got criminal records. So we are
but
saying,
is that not part of the punitive measures that you put in place to make sure that you don't commit crime, because if you do, you always have a criminal record, and it'll always be just a sword that's hanging above your head. How does that work both ways?
It is a contradiction. In fact, it's standing directly opposite to what we seek to achieve as the Department of Correctional Services. So we want to meet this process halfway. We are saying I can't have, and I like the example of an apple. I can't have said because I was hungry, I stole an apple, and after stealing an apple I get sentenced, and I stay for 10 years before my criminal record can be expunged. I mean, it's quite unfair. So we're saying that we need to categorize crimes and say on the basis of what you have committed, at least you can wait for a month, or not even sentenced at all. Get sentenced to what we call community services and not get criminal records.
Is this a system that you have in place, or you're considering?
No, we are working on
it?
The Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Minister Masuta, in the budget vote of 2015, spoke about the colloquium on criminal record expungement. So the criminal justice cluster is working on the process of amending the Criminal Procedure Act. But that process is ongoing. We have not arrived at the conclusion of the act itself.
Right.
But we are working on it. Second part is that we have taken through many of our inmates to skills development programs. They are certified, many of them. But many of them, when they're certified, particularly on the vocational side and the technical skill side, there are those that have not get what we call trade test. We are now partnering with the
trade test. Would you
the
like
trade test, yes. The trade test is the test that you go through if you are an artisan. You have trained in boiler making.
Right.
You get taken to what we call the trade test processes.
Trade test.
Trade test, yeah, to be certified as a boiler maker. So we have partners now with the sitters. And I think from now onwards there was a process of advertisement by the department to say we need accredited trainers who will then actually take our people inside through the entire process of arriving at a point where they get a trade test. And this is a complementary work, Audrey. It includes that work of second chance, the work of the criminal record expungement, and the work of certification of those that have taken through the work in our centers. So we are working on that. You will see the movement moving forward, that the Department of Correctional Services is going to be starting to work on that process. So we have identified that problem as part of our work moving forward. So we're going to arrive at a point where we certify them, but also take them through the process of second chance of getting them back to communities to work without criminal record.
That would be counterproductive, isn't it? If the department is spending so much money in skilling these ex-offenders, or offenders rather, if they're still in the correctional service, not in prison, then it doesn't help if they can't use those skills outside. I want to go back to the audience.
The last part before you go in. Look, we are also lobbying private companies. We have had many meetings with big companies. So that they are able also to absorb those people. There's no need for us to train so many people and put so much money. And then we don't utilize those skills. And the country is in dire need of skills. I can tell you now that our prisons, like he said, is a jewel. There are many intelligent people there. There are brilliant skills there. And because of these limitations, we're not utilizing them.
Right.
We are working very hard.
Presidents there, they're people's husbands there, girls out there waiting to get married.
Like I say,
thinking,
me and you Audrey, are potential offenders. Me and you can be inside tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And these skills that we have must be utilized by society. We can't close them in. So we're working hard to go to that level of ensuring that people know that we're in the business of correction, nothing else.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the audience. Let's have more contributions. Let's join in the conversation.
I'm saying to all the mothers out there that please let us stand on our feet. God called us. We were the first to be called to this great task of bringing souls back.
Absolutely.
Of bringing people back to God. But we relax. So how can they come?
A very powerful speech, Mehmet. So thank you so much for your contribution. We certainly appreciate that. Final remarks, Mr. Navari, very quickly as we close. I'll start.
Thank you very much, Audrey. And I want to say as a parting shot that as the department, we want to call upon society broadly, the NGO, NPOs, churches, companies that are willing to contribute in the employment of ex-offenders, to come and partner with the Department of Correctional Services. We've made it clear that this is a societal responsibility and we can't achieve it alone. In line with the vision of the NDP, we seek to build a crime-free society where everybody else lives in harmony and peace.
Right. Thank you. I feel we won't have done justice if we don't ask Mama Julia to just address us just for a few minutes. I mean, just the the stories we've heard today, the work that you have done, I think is very commendable. If you'd like to speak to our viewers, people that are at home, ex-offenders that are trying to find their way into society, and community members as well that don't know how to deal with people that have been rehabilitated or that haven't been rehabilitated, that are just trying to find their way back.
I just want to thank everybody who's here. And I want to thank Ntate Councillor Spiwe and Correctional Services and Baruti ba bohle ba balemo. And the work I'm doing it with passion. I was once incarcerated for 7 years awaiting trial in Kgoshi prison. And this, I adopted this from there because there were so many people came to prison all the time, going out, coming in. I was there for 7 years waiting trial, no bail. I completed that 7 years and I was acquitted, saying, go home, you're not guilty. And what I'm doing it with all my heart. And I beg today, I'm happy the correctional officers are here to support me. I've been doing this since I was released from prison with no support from them. I'm doing this with all what I have. The bakery I'm helping the ex-offenders who come from prison without places. And I do have a halfway house which is not supported by the government and by the correctional services. I'm not supported. I'm begging them today to say, I'm sure they saw what I'm doing.
Mama Julie, do you think it's more of a challenge for ex-offenders, female ex-offenders, to come back to society? Do you think there's a difference when it comes to male ex-offenders, how they're received?
Yes, I did receive female offenders. But female offenders sometimes they are not like men. You know, men, they take orders. If you ask them to do something, they do. And female offenders, sometimes, you know, ladies, how we are. Sometimes she cannot tell me anything. This one, she's from there, where I come from. So they are like that. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Without the financial support from the department, I'm repeating this. Without the financial support from Department of Correctional Services, Gauteng. And I thank you, my councillor. You are helping me. And I'm thanking all the pastors which are in this ministry, which are changing people's lives. If you see people like Bonganes, you can, if you can stay with them more than 30 minutes, they will explain what they are going through.
Thank you, Mama Julie, for your testimony. We certainly appreciate it. As we're running out of time, very quickly, Pastor, also just final parting words from you as we close what has become a church service, or shall we say a sermon today.
As a church, I would say much has been said. We have witnessed what the Dream Team and the Age of Hope ministries are doing. We are saying to everybody, our doors are open. Come, let's sit down. We believe that our country has got a problem, but churches have got a solution. We need mostly the Department of Correctional Services. I speak as an ex-offender. There's so much that we can say about them, but we don't want to spoil the mood. We are opening our arms. We are saying to you guys, come on board. This is not only our sole responsibility, and I'm holding him responsible for the promise he has made. And if he cannot keep it, I will call you.
I was taking notes.
Thank you, sir.
I have everything here. Thank you, Pastor, for those closing remarks. Councillor,
thanks
what are your
a lot.
parting words?
One is that I want to say thank you, everyone who's been here, especially the department and yourself from the media house, because today I'll call you a progressive media house. But I want to say other leadership somewhere else who can see the show, they must come and learn from us. I think where we are sitting, I can't blame the department. They have played their role and they're still playing their role. I think, Pastor, also you have played your role and the committee have played their role. What I can say to you is that in Ward 37, we have called ourselves a Ward of Excellences because everything that we are doing in terms of making sure that we prove a point. Lastly, I will say, if any department commit themselves here, we will follow them. We know where they are. Any commitment ever relaying, we'll make sure that they're going to implement. But at last, I'll say, Memashele, you are safe here. To be with us, you are at the Water of Excellence. Things will happen. And I hope next time when you come here, you must come, this event become big, calling other people seeing what you are doing, and make sure that we are changing the society. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Bongani, parting words.
Well, thank you so much, Audrey, and thanks everyone who has been here. Well, let me say this in closure. As an ex-offender, it has been hard. It has never been an easy journey. But things started to change when I've joined E-Dream Team and Age of Hope Ministries, Umama Julie Obvious, of course. Because now, you see, when you have to go to deliver a speech, because I'm a motivational speaker as well. When you have to go to school, from school to school, you need transportation money to do that. And now she's doing that out of her own pocket. Like you can see now, we are wearing happy socks. It's you know, to look representable. These are the things that you don't get from the community and the other stakeholders. But she's doing it from, I mean, out of nothing, as you can see now. But we would like to thank Yena specifically and the team as well, and may she continue to do what she's doing. I mean, from Soweto to here, I couldn't be here if she couldn't contribute in the petrol money to be here. So that petrol money, can you imagine where it's coming from?
Right.
You know, so thank you so much, and thank you to the team, and thank you to the to you guys as well.
Well, we wish you all the best on your journey. Obviously, you've started off very well. I hope you're an inspiration to all the ex-offenders out there who are trying to change their lives. It is possible. It can be done. You just need to look within yourselves. And it's to the community members who are trying, or perhaps, again, apprehensive about reintegrating with people that have offended. Who are we if we're not one? We need each other, and it's very important that we open our hearts to that. This has been People's Imbizo, brought to you by ANN7. Thank you so much for watching the program and for joining in the conversation. I know you've been tweeting, and we certainly appreciate that from myself, Audrey Chimwanda, and the team behind the scenes. Goodbye.